So, good morning, everyone, and a warm welcome to the second day of the Fintech Surge stage here at GITEX. Are you all feeling well? I hope so. Great to see so many who have found us here. We have yet another really dynamic, interesting, and relevant agenda today with some of the heavyweights within fintech, within regulation, and within banking who are going to be on this stage. Now, just briefly about me, I'm here to host these 4 days. I have a background as a communications catalyst, a moderator, a speaker. I'm also an entrepreneur in the Web3 space, so I'm a founding member and head of sustainability of one of the largest NFT blockchain-based gaming platforms called Planet IX that has sort of sustainability at its core. But today I'm here to facilitate our conversation, and we're going to start off with meeting a large company here in the UAE, who I'm sure all of you know. Today they're called E&. Previously the name was Etisalat Group, and they transitioned from a telco to a global technology conglomerate this February to really create limitless possibilities on connection, on collaboration, and on connectivity. And they did this by realigning their business operations, by creating a new diversified business model with business pillars that could really support growth and ambitions. Now, X and Life is one of the business pillars of EA, and that aims to bring the next generation digital world to the consumer's fingertips. How? Well, by utilizing the latest technology, smart platforms, and also apps within fintech, entertainment, retail, and mobility services. And we're truly honored today to open up this stage with a fireside chat with the CEO of E&Life, Mr. Khalifa Al-Shamsi, who will share some insight about this transition. So please give it up for Mr. Al-Shamsi. So a warm welcome. Thank you that you could join us.
Of course.
I'm trying to get this stage a bit more like this. So, I mean, a really interesting and quite a big transition from Etisalat Group to E&, and also E&Life. Tell us what this sort of transition has enabled and also why it was so important to do.
Sure. So stepping back from Etisalat Group and the UAE and looking at it at a global perspective from a telecom companies globally, telecom services globally, they realize the saturation when it comes to the traditional telecom business. I mean, I remember the days when I joined the company when the growth were double digits because adoption of mobile at the time, I mean, we were making money out of SMS earlier on the day. So saturation of services and penetration had made a lot of the telecom company globally reach the stagnation phase when it comes to growth. So the move that E&, have announced in February, and it's actually some of the building blocks started in the last 5 years and 6 years and realizing some of the capabilities, is to embrace and celebrate the strength that we have in the telecom part, and there goes the E part of the new name. Telecom is the cash cow for the industry, and it's where our strength come from. For example, for us, we have 160 million subscribers that cuts across from West Africa up to Pakistan, and all of these countries in between, and points of sale and access that we have, that we embrace. But to grow beyond wherever we have reached today, we have to go beyond that, beyond the telecom, and the and part is the and a lot more. But we have to also realize which area will be able to have the right to play in and have the right to contribute and grow and win. And this is why when we reflected, we started with the priority areas for us. So in the new strategy, still embracing the telecom. So we have our focus on the telecom remains, and that goes for both our UAE operation and our international operations. But also we put down two big, bold bets. One in our EN enterprise for the enterprise company in the digital domain, and one in the consumer domain, in the digital services, in the E and life. And that's the strategy. I mean, we are announced it in February. As I said, the building blocks from the last 5 years, we are doubling down of some of the area. Maybe in the old days, telecom, look at some of the services like what's so-called MFS or mobile financial services as value-added service. Right now, it's a pure standalone business that we're putting more investment within it and surrounding it by the ecosystem play. And we're not claiming insights and depth of knowledge, but we're working also with the ecosystem partner to complement what we have with the asset that they have, with the innovation that they have, and then be able to, we believe 1 + 1 could equal 10 if we are in a collaborative mode.
And I think ecosystem is really a lot about what the collaborative notion is about today. And also looking at sort of that accelerated growth that you have now, it also, of course, acquires a lot of innovation. And I know that E&Life has several digital services and products. So how do you sort of keep on evolving in innovation?
So, I mean, one, we wanted to start with 2 key verticals for us that we can bet on it big time. One is emerged from our legacy in the entertainment industry. So we have our company called eVision that's been working with all major studios internationally and locally. It's a 23-year-old company, but you see it behind the scene because it's enabled the retail subscribers and the retail operations. For example, for those resident in the UAE and enjoying the services by our Etisalat by E&, operation eLife TV, the whole content and content management relation is managed by eVision. But we saw that we're lacking the ability to go over the top across the whole region without infrastructure, because in the UAE we're enjoying, the top fiber penetration in the world, but we don't have it in Pakistan, we don't have it in Morocco, we don't have it in the other country. How can we penetrate our services in the entertainment beyond what we have? So this is where we've increased our stake in Stars Play Arabia, and now we're the majority owner of Stars Play Arabia. That will allow us to take this operation from a current base of 2 million across the region to be the top streaming provider across the area, bringing the international content that it's already we're having and we're enriching, but also bringing content relevant to the region, and also innovating in terms of new type of content. Sports, for example, we demonstrated that recently by acquiring the Italian league rights for the whole MENA region, the cricket rights for the whole region, and we're enriching content is one domain. We'll be complementing it by other also type of entertainment within that. So one, accelerating the area by acquisition. Other part is by partnership. So we'll be partnering with a lot of the company, both in the entertainment domain and in the fintech domain. And it's a win-win relationship. Will let people also collaborate and grow together, especially when it comes to vertical that it's in the take-up phase, like the fintech. And of course, some of the services we opt to build it ourselves, like our own digital wallet, the core, the main services, we're building it ourselves. But definitely, for area that it's moving a lot faster than us, we'll have to work with others.
Interesting. So what you're really looking at, sorry, I'm needing to talk here because my mic is on this side. So what you're really looking at is becoming sort of the dominant large streaming player in the UAE and around.
So Stars Play today is already one of the top 3 streaming provider across the whole MENA region.
Yeah.
So there are 3 players, Stars Play, Shahid by NBC, and Netflix.
Yeah.
So the acquisition or the majority acquisition of Stars Play will doubling down on the Stars Play. Whatever projection they had initially on their growth will be able also to provide them the strength of the group, the reach of the group to allow them to strengthen. That, while I always like to stress on maintaining the company to runs in its own, by its founder, by its own management team, so they can have their cake and eat it too. They can have the strength of the group, the assets, the reach, while no control. I would hate being a big company taking over a smaller player, and then you're getting to the nitty-gritty of the operation, claiming knowledge of all insights related to a specific thing. But We love the agility of a smaller company, of a startup, of a growth company, and we'll support it to grow a lot faster.
Because one thing that came to mind when we talk about this, especially when you're in a growth accelerated pace, but you're also in a lot of acquisition, is maintaining culture in such a sort of large, fragmented but still unified company. How do you, in your position as a CEO, how do you sort of find the endorsement of culture being, an asset?
So again, acquisition is one. I don't want people thinking that we're going in an acquisition all over the place. Yeah. But definitely when you choose a company to partner, work with, or acquire, you don't look at it only by the vertical you want. Companies and startups about the people itself. And we love having company that become part of the family and make an influence to the whole family, not only to the EN life, but the whole EN, the way of working. And even our big company in EN, we evolve in the flexibility we provide to our employees in the pandemic. I mean, still until now, one of the very few companies that will provide 3 days working from home for the people up to today, despite the left regulation, because we've seen the impact, we've seen the productivity enhancement, the flexibility. It's a tool to acquire talent also. So having those companies that we work with and we acquire, bringing the best out of their culture into our own mother companies, also this is a value for us.
And sort of bring it back to fintech, because that's of course the main theme. How do you see, out of your experience being in this sort of sector for so long and also within EN and EN Life, how do you see this sector evolving? I mean, what is happening in this pinnacle of a moment now?
So I'm sure everybody in this room aware by the huge takeoff of consumer adoption for electronics channel since the pandemic started. I mean, I'm for one, when the lockdown happened and the restriction, I moved all type of remittance that people that they work for us in the house to start doing it digitally rather than physically going to the other. And looking at our region itself, we have between UAE and Saudi Arabia most penetrated in terms of mobile penetration, smartphone penetrations, highest remittance corridors in the world between UAE and Saudi Arabia, even in our receiving in between Pakistan and Egypt, also rich. So the type of operation that we have allow us to start working more into this one. So adoption is increasing. People now realize them flexibilities, safety, ease of use when it comes to the digital channel. While it's taken off, and of course that have its impact in the early 2021 in the valuation of the company, the region is still, in terms of fintech, a lot of players and a lot of fragmentations, and there is no, let's say, champions for the various type of services. So for us, it's the right time to take an asset that we have, which was initially through a JV that we have with Noor Bank, later was acquired by DIP, and say, you know what, now that the regulation in the UAE allow us to have a full ownership of that operation, we will take full ownership, which we closed end of last year. And we started our own revamp of the service with the EN Money that we launched in July, because we think the time is right to doubling down in the investment and to capture a lot of the growth opportunity and also make a difference. Make a difference for the end users, make a difference for the startup community that they would like to leverage on a customer base for them also to grow. Because as I mentioned, partnership with them will allow them to grow and allow us also to grow. And sometimes we might take a small stake in them in order to allow their growth also. We will get some ROI in it also, apart from only the commercial agreement. So it's an open, collaborative, it's different waking up every day. In the old days, we look at one competitor, two competitors in telecom domains. Now we wake up every day, there is 20, 30, 50. So this needs a different type of way of running the business. Agility is extremely important. Innovation is extremely important, because the whole region that we have is also, I mean, you hear about new companies coming every now and then, and the talent that's available in the region. I mean, no doubt UAE is becoming a magnet for a lot of talents, for a lot of investments. So this is great for us having our headquarters here, also being able to mix and meet with a lot of the potential stars and unicorn of the region.
I wanted to sort of touch upon leadership because that is something that is, it's so imperative. And I feel that it's a role that's evolving, not least mentioning what you're mentioning, the acceleration, the growth, going from silos more to unified and collaborative. What's your sort of take? What are the traits that you find are getting more and more important when it comes to a leadership role, let's say?
So, I mean, one thing I embrace more when dealing with the companies is nose in, hands out. So avoid coming into the business and trying to run these businesses on your own just because if you are overlooking the overall verticals or the overall company and in the if you have the right people and the right company that you have and you put all your trust and money in them, then those people will be the one that will grow the business. But sometimes also they need the support. And by that nose and ears in, allow you also to see the area of support that we can, because I think in terms of content, in terms of execution, they can do it on their own, but they need additional support, whether for our own internal business, other partner that you have in the region, government authority to ease some of the execution and licensing related activity. I think we have the right talent of the region, and I think embracing them and giving them the space to accelerate and grow, that will be fundamental.
Very true. I just want to give the audience an opportunity. Is there anyone who has a question? I mean, do seize this opportunity. Don't be shy. Yesterday, there were a lot of questions, but is there anyone? No? Okay. Well, then I'll have a concluding question, because I'm also thinking with all the emerging technologies that are happening and all, especially when you look at entertainment, gaming and so forth, the metaverse. I mean, this buzzword that has many sides to it. How do you see technologies and possibilities like the metaverse sort of coming in tandem with a company like E&D and E&D Life?
So I'm a background engineer, and we used to look at things, technology in the center, solution and customer at the end. I think in order to make a difference, for this day and age, having the center is on the customer itself is key. I would hate to drop in an AI or a metaverse or a blockchain in order to sell a service or a solution to the user. I think if we center our design to the user experience, to the journeys, and use this technology, I mean, we can mold that complexity of technology center around what the customer wants. So talking about AI, we never thought of AI first and then how to enhance the digital journey or the onboarding of a fintech operation. You think about the journey and the onboarding process and how to ease it and make it seamless, and then use technologies like AI, OCR, facial recognitions, a scoring algorithm for credit scoring, for risk scoring. You use that in order to develop the solution, but you don't center the technology. A metaverse, I'm a believer of the metaverse and the value it will add. Yes, it is in the early days, but we need to start today and yesterday in order for us also to realize. I mean, metaverse will be a lot about content creator. It's not about the technology. It's not about the platform. And that's whereby we open our doors, like we are showcasing in our EN, to listen also from others, whether it be it industrial type of player that they will add what kind of challenge and opportunity that they think that they have and they would like to collaboratively work on it, or content creator from media and entertainment and sports, try to think jointly with each other. And what we're promising you, we will be in the center of the solution and the journey and the use cases, and we're open to collaboratively work together in order to make a difference, to accelerate the metaverse also for this region.
Well, that's an approach. If anyone is in the industry and looking for a collaborative, conduit, then here we definitely have an opening. I wanted to just end by asking you, I mean, we live in exponential, exciting times, but also, a volatile world. What do you find is most exciting about the times we're living in now, privately or as a leader?
So I think those that will benefit out of the evolving, volatile, or even accelerated world is people that elevate themselves from the daily activities and trying to foresight what could happen next, what do I need to do to happen next. I was driving out of Jitex and I saw the big signage and Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid is mentioned. The people that they will win are those that they think about the future, design the journey, and execute it. And I think if we elevate ourselves to have future foresight and to be a contributor, not only by imagining it, but designing it and executing it, those will be the winners.
So imagine the future, design it, and then execute it. I think that's a perfect way to say thank you so much for this fireside chat and for everything that you do. Please give it up for Mr. Khalifa Al Shamsi. Thank you. Thank you very much.